Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, beautiful people. It is Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. I am Shenita Connolly, your host, and I am delighted that you are joining us for this conversation about entrepreneurship. I know many people desire to be entrepreneurs. Some have jumped into it, and some are still on the fence. And so I am hoping tonight's guest will give you the inspiration, the motivation to jump if that's what you need, a little push. And so I am going to, as always, ask that you all share and like the broadcast so that others will be able to join us as well. You all know that I believe sharing is caring. And as always, I am sharing another resource that will bless you not only tonight, but if you're in the Clayton Henry area, you will be blessed when you stop by the shop to enjoy the food the foods that are being offered. Please like and share this broadcast. So before we bring our guest in, I would love to just set the tone for tonight's show. I have a gentleman who is an entrepreneur. And so let's kind of talk about the most important thing in the entrepreneurial journey. I'm sure most people believe that there's magic. Well, there's no magic formula for being a successful entrepreneur. Those who do succeed tend to have mastered the following set of skills: good and effective communication, being able to sell both themselves and their idea or product. They have a strong sense of focus. They're eager to learn and be flexible, and they also have a solid business plan. The other thing that through my research as I was preparing for tonight's show is the thought of what motivates a person to become an entrepreneur. When starting your own business, entrepreneurs have said they're not motivated by what you may think. The main reason most people want to become their own boss is the freedom, satisfaction, and flexibility it offers them. Entrepreneurs need to embrace new technology and use it to their benefit to continue to grow their businesses. So, all of us know someone who is a successful entrepreneur, and I'm just going to name a few. I'm going to name my brother, Ricky McCants, who is a very successful entrepreneur that I have had the pleasure of knowing all of my life, all of his life, because he's 13 months younger. But it's not too often that we have access to people who have been very successful in this area of their life. So I was looking up some famous entrepreneurs as well: Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Henry Ford, Bill Gates, Walt Disney, Steve Jobs, Sarah Breedlove, Sean Combs, Jay-Z and Beyonce, and Tyra Banks, just to name a few. Our names could be added to that list, right? So let's get into this conversation with Mr. Linval Sterling, who is the owner of Lifestyle Smoothie that's located in Stockbridge, Georgia. Please like and share the broadcast, and we're going to talk about his journey to entrepreneurship. So join me in welcoming my guest, Sterling. Good evening, Sterling.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to be on your show.
Yes,
Glad to be on your show.
um, yes, glad to have you. So let's talk about this entrepreneurship journey of yours. So before we get into it, let's break the ice, because sometimes we just need to break the ice. So tell me one something or one thing someone would be surprised to know about Sterling.
One
One
thing.
thing.
Okay. I've been on my own since I was 13 years old.
13. Wow.
Yep.
All right. That's to be commended. 13 years old. Wow. I'm trying to think what I was doing at 13. Still trying to be obedient, still trying to be sassy to my parents. And you say you were on your own at 13. I had not even had a job at 13. But that's to be
Mm.
commended, 13 years old. So tell us a little bit more about Sterling, the man who's been on his own since he was 13 years old. Are you there? I didn't lose you, did I? Sterling? Seems as if I have lost him for a moment. So, with that being said, until he comes back in, um, I'm sure there's something wrong with his connection. But Sterling is from Jamaica, and he just said that one thing that people would be surprised to know about him is that he has been on his own since he was 13 years old. I cannot even imagine. I can't imagine being on my own at 13. Um, his story is amazing. So I'm hoping his connection gets back up and he joins us again. But as an entrepreneur, he learned very early on how to take care of himself. And so I don't think he's ever worked a traditional job in all of his almost 50 something years. So I think that's to be commended to start out at 13 and here we are at 50 something. So that's to be commended. So he's back. So thank you, Sterling. So I was just saying to them that you're from Jamaica, and I know you were about to start telling us a little bit more about who you are. Um, Hello, Tanya, one of my friends who's tuning in. Hey, T. So tell us a little more about you, the man, Linval Sterling, who was on his own at 13, and you're now 50 something.
Yeah, old. I hailed from the island of Jamaica. I migrated to the U.S. in 2016, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. I um, I could never see myself punching a clock from 9 to 5. So
Right.
I always try to create ways of earning.
So, an entrepreneur, he said, at the age of 17, been on his own since he was 13, never worked a job. Um, so, entrepreneurship is all he knows. Good evening, Katasha. Good evening. And yes, Tanya, he is seasoned as an entrepreneur for sure. He is certainly seasoned in this area. I have spent quite a bit of time talking with him over the last couple of months. Well, not quite 2 months. Talking with him and learning about who he is and what drives him. So it's a very interesting journey. Um, Hoping that the next connection he gets in is not interfered because he definitely has um, a lot to share. So, again, we're talking about entrepreneurship, the journey to becoming an entrepreneur. So, hopefully, those who are interested in becoming an entrepreneur will definitely be inspired and motivated by the conversation I am having with Sterling this evening. My apologies for the connection, bad connection that he's having this evening with his computer. But we are have been talking about famous entrepreneurs, who have really been trailblazers, um, for all of us to see and watch. I mentioned earlier Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Henry Ford, Bill Gates, Walt Disney, Steve Jobs. We've all kind of watched these people over the years. Some we watched when they started out as a nobody, as people would think, and now they are major in their areas of entrepreneurship or their areas of specialty. So, Sterling, I'm glad that you're back. Hopefully, you're back for good this time.
I don't know.
So,
I changed the room.
okay, good. So, with that being said, will you share with them a little bit more about who you are?
Okay. As I was saying, okay, born, grew in Jamaica, and started my first business at age 17. Migrated to the U.S. in 2006.
2006 or
Um,
2016?
no, 2006.
2006, okay.
Yeah, and started my first business here in the U.S. 4 months after I got here, and been always creating stuff, always um, trying new adventure, and which brought me to my next chapter. Okay.
And so tell us about a little bit more about being on your own at 16 or becoming an entrepreneur at 17. Tell us a little bit.
That's all right. At age 13, let's start at 13. 13, I grew up with a single mom, and life was pretty hard. And she she just left one day. There were three of us living with her, and she just left. She left us all, three of us. And at 13, I actually grew up at 13 to take care of my siblings, my other
Yeah.
two. So, and so with all that, um, I started. I dropped out of school um, at 13, and but how would I put it? It's a really sad story. But at 13, I wasn't able to read or write. Put it that way. I wasn't here to. I wasn't able to do anything that I would need to survive in the real world, and never went back to high school. But never been to high school. But I went back to school and learned the basic stuff that I need. After finishing school, I had uh, a, a job maybe for a few months. And what I saw, I didn't like because I mean, they treat you crappy and the pay was awful. So I figured early on that being your own boss would be the best route for me because I didn't like people bossing me around or telling me what to do too much. So um, I figured out being your own boss, and at that time I didn't even know that's what it was called, entrepreneur. I just know that I wanted to be free. I mean, have the freedom of doing, going, coming when I wanted to. So I started my first business at age 17 while I was um, doing that short job that I had, and my first break came, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was doing accounting for this little company. Um, they were doing T-shirts, and I saw that they make a lot of money, but they were bad spenders. So I said I could do this, and so I have like a photographic memory. Most thing I see, I remember. So um, I said I could do this, but I didn't have the first dime or to start a business, and I didn't have the money to get the equipment and all this stuff. So one day while I was walking through the production area, I stood I stood there for about 15 minutes and I was just looking at how the whole thing works.
Hmm.
And They didn't know what I was doing, but I was looking deeper than what they were doing. I was looking at all the mechanics and everything. And I went home that night and I recreate everything. I drew everything on paper and I took it to a machinist and I said, I want you to make me some equipments. And he says, what am I making? I says, just do what I tell you.
So you didn't like to be bossed around, but you were good at bossing people.
So, but I didn't say it in a mean way. I mean, he wanted to know what he was making. And I said, you're making a machine. And he said, what kind of machine? And so I made my first screen printing press. Matter of fact, I make three. And I started a business. And I didn't know how to print a t-shirts or to do anything like that. But I started and I rented my first office space. And I made a t-shirt. That time there was no computer, but I made my first t-shirt and I showed it to my friends and they were fascinated by it, but wasn't wow. And during the Gulf War, I had my last few dollars and I buy a newspaper and it says there was a hotel in Jamaica at the time. It was a newly hotel. It was Sandals. They call it Sandals Hotel. And so they were giving some vacation package to military folks who have been in the war. And so I had my first $5. I mean, my first few dollars, and I says I stayed up late at night after I bought in the newspaper. I stayed up late at night, and I came up with a few different concepts for the hotel. And I called them in the morning, and I says I present my concept to them, and they says, "Are you giving us the shirts?" I says, "Nope. I want to sell you the whole concept." And I didn't have $1 for um, for anything, not even to buy a T-shirt. It was just a concept, and I took it to them, and they liked it. And I walked out that hotel with $80,000 check with just a concept, and it's all started from there.
Wow. And I'm sure you were like, wow.
I was like, they didn't even ask me for an invoice. They didn't. They just handed me the check, and I went. I did the job, and the following week, they got another job from them for $120,000
And
and
how old were you at this time, Sterling?
17.
17. So now you have a $80,000 check the first time, and you go back for another job and they give you a hundred and how much again?
20.
So now you had $200,000 and you didn't have a penny when you walked in with that concept.
No.
So I am saying, as a person who has a dream or a desire, go for it. Is that what you would tell them as well?
Yeah. Sometimes for most of us, we do have, or we get a vision, or we got a dream, or something. God put something on you, and sometimes you don't put it in action. They say faith without works is dead.
Yes.
And sometimes you have your dreams or something that God has given to you, and sometimes you let other people talk you out of it. So whatever your dream is, it can be done. You just have to believe in yourself. Your biggest cheerleader will be you. And I would say go for it. You need three things. You need a good concept. As you said earlier on, you need execution. You need to be consistent. And with that, you can accomplish anything.
And that's how you became an entrepreneur,
Yep.
with a concept,
With the
with
concept.
with no education, formal education as we would say, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So education should not interfere with anyone who desires to become an entrepreneur.
No, it should not. But education is also good. I mean, and it's always good to learn and not always think that because you did something this way, it doesn't mean that it can be done better or you can always improve on what you've learned. So it's always good to be a student, to learn as you go along. Don't be arrogant and always stay humble. And in your walk, always stay kind. because without those things, you can't make it very far.
And I speak about being humble all the time. And and you're right, being kind. I had a friend to tell me years ago, you cannot you have to be just as kind with your children when you're raising children, right? As you are with your friends. So in other words, kindness goes in all areas of our lives. Personal life, professional life, spiritual life. It just should be who we are,
Yep,
and staying humble.
always.
Yes. And I've watched you. I went into your. I first I saw the post on July 1st by William Murphy, which one is one of my Facebook friends, and I passed by 138 in your plaza many times and saw the sign and thought to myself, "Oh wow, I wonder when is that opening." When I saw his post on July 1st, I said I've got to go check it out. And on July 4th, I went and checked it out, and you were very kind and very humble from day one. And so I appreciate the person you are. So something happened. But
Can you hear
again,
me?
our conversation,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, just can't see you.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay. So we'll continue the conversation. Um, and so what has it been like as an entrepreneur for you on this journey since 17 years old?
Um, Being entrepreneur, I mean, it gives you that level of freedom to, I mean, do things at your own terms. That's one.
Hmm.
But there's also another side that there is a fearful part of it, knowing that you have people depend on you, and I mean, you have to come through all the time. So, and no one knows what's out there. So every time you take something, a new step, um, I mean, there's always that fear. But I always say, believing, I mean, this is not my saying. There's a guy I listen to, Les Brown. He says,
Yes, I
if you're
love
going to
Les.
fail big. So, and whatever you're going to do it bigly. I mean, do it big, because doing it small, if you're going to fail, you're still going to fail. And if you do it big, the rewards isn't even going to be bigger.
Hmm.
So I just use, I mean, some of those lines, and I kind of adapt, I mean, put them to practice, and
Hmm.
I just do it, and then I do my best all the time.
And so I love Les Brown too. I've been listening to him for decades. Did you start listening to Les when you came to the United States or before you came?
When I came here, when I
Yeah.
came here, um, um, so
Yeah. He just announced not long ago that he was retiring and he was going to start enjoying life, meaning his family, which I thought was great. I was listening to him do a Facebook live not long ago, and he's he's getting older, and he wants to really kind of not travel as much, and he wants to start enjoying his family. So I thought that was commendable. You've given your life to the world for so many years, and I'm sure family members, you've missed out on a lot of stuff, and now you're at this place in your life where you're like, okay, let me will this back in and start enjoying the fruits of my labor on a different level, which I think is awesome because if you've made a lot of money um, for decades and you've traveled a lot and you have the option, the flexibility now to enjoy the latter part of your life without any worry about money, I think it's an awesome opportunity to do just that.
yeah, it is.
That's a reward.
That's a beautiful thing. But most people are missed out on,
Hmm.
and for all the accolades and all the wonderful things that you get, rewards that you get from being making a lot of money, or being an entrepreneur, there's nothing more rewarding than family.
Yes,
And you realize after a while that with all the stuff that you do have or you acquire, it's just stuff.
it's just stuff.
It's
You
just
and I both know that. I just sold my house after 22 years and sold a lot of stuff, gave away a lot of stuff, and I was like, it's just stuff.
yeah.
And I still have too much stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you prepare to downsize, it's like, really? Why did I have all this stuff? More to sort through.
Miss Brown says, "Enjoy the fruits of your labor." Well, I mean, it's good to enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's what we all do. That's what we should do. You
Yes.
know, but and I've also learned that, um, I mean, God put us here for more than for one reason, and if He was able to bless you that you can acquire much, I think it is also for us to share the platform to make or to enrich others for the opportunity. The biggest commandment he gives is to love your neighbor as yourself. What does it mean? Most people who get rich, they become very selfish and become very greedy, and they always want more and more and more.
You better
But
say
what
it.
we have to understand is that the more you give, the more you will get.
Yes.
I mean, when your hands are closed, there's nothing can go in it.
I need you
You
to
know.
say that again because I just said that when I was preparing to sell my house and God had told me to do some things and I was like this,
Mhm.
right? And he wanted me to do this. So can you
Because
say that again?
when your hands are closed, a closed fist cannot receive or get anything. So you have to open your hands and you have to be kind. You have to share in order to receive. So for those who are out there whose agenda is to get rich and buy a lot of stuff, that all thing is good, but it is meaningless if you get to the top and there's no one there to share it with you, it's meaningless.
That's it. That's it.
It
That's
is
it.
meaningless. It's emptiness.
Yes.
Because if you want a drink of water, the money can't the money can't bring it to you, you know. And and just remember this one thing: the more money you have, the more fake friends you're gonna do have, and the more they're coming to get what you have. They're not coming to just to be your friends, they're coming to. So I would advise to create a platform or a path for those around you to be successful as well, not just
To
try to
bring
get by
them
yourself.
up. To bring
Yeah.
them up. To bring them up.
Yeah.
And you made a great point when you said, it's lonely at the top. So why would you want to be the only one at the top when you could help others to get to the top with you and you're not the only one on the trips to um, Barbados or wherever. Your friends have been successful because you contributed to them being successful. So you all can travel together, right? Without you having to um, have pay for all the expenses.
That's the best thing.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
yeah, so it is always good to share,
Yes,
not just in wealth, but in everything else. Share.
everything.
Just remember this: any good things that you want for yourself, always want it for somebody else,
Yep, yep.
and that's the way to go.
And Tanya said, "To whom much is given, much is required."
And that is true.
Yes, and we have to remember that those of us who are believers, everybody's not a believer, and they can look at that a different kind of way, but it's still the same meaning. So um, I appreciate that. A lot of wisdom in what you have shared thus far. Thus far. So, with that being said, I know that you don't desire to work for a company because you love the flexibility and the freedom that entrepreneurship provides to you or has provided so far in your life.
Hmm.
So, what inspired you to start Lifestyle Smoothie?
Oh, wow. Well, I have I do a lot of stuff. One of my other jobs I do, I like to build stuff. I like to work with my hands. So I was doing a project in South Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
My mother-in-law had there was a tornado a few years back and ripped her house off. So I went down south to rebuild her house. And so for me becoming to starting a lifestyle smoothie kind of started from that project, and it was just pure accident how all of this came about.
Would you
And
say accident or a part of the plan?
well, I could say it's a part of God's plan, but in my eyes, it seemed as if it was just accident. It wasn't something planned for me, but I guess God planned it for me. He says, "You know the things I have for you, that you may be prosper," and so all that good stuff. But it wasn't part of my plan. So I went to go put the house back together, and in that little town, the power had went up because the tornado ripped everything up. So there was only two places that had power: Walmart and Zaxby's. So everybody would go to Zaxby's for food to get a warm meal. So I was no different. So I went there, but it's always like a 2 hour and a half wait each time, and it takes up so much of my time each day. When you go in the morning and you go to lunchtime and dinner, it's just
Mhm.
a long wait. So on this particular day, I went, line was so long, and I just couldn't wait. And I just went to Walmart and I walked around and couldn't find nothing that's really I wanted. So I went into the produce aisle and I picked up some salad, 3 packs of salad. And I went home and I had one for dinner and it filled me up. I felt okay. But the following morning, I went and I had another pack at about 6:30 in the morning to start my day because I didn't want to go to Zaxby's that next morning. And I started my work. And surprisingly, I worked all day from six, let's say about from 7 to about 9 o'clock that night without even feeling hungry or like I was lethargic or having. I had a lot of energy. And it was the first time that I can remember that I just worked all day without being hungry. So it was like, wow, just from eating a salad. And then to top it off, I had a lot of energy. So I worked at about 9 o'clock. And then at about 9:15 or so, I had another pack of salad, the third pack. And so I decided I was coming back to, Jonesboro. And my in-law was saying, it's a long drive. Why would you want to drive? You work all day and you want to drive back. I said, I just want to go home. So I went home. And normally when I drive a long distance, I tend to want to fall asleep. But on this particular evening, I realized I drove for almost 4 hours and no sleep. I was full of energy all the way. When I got home, I had a lot of energy, and it puzzled me a bit. So I said I wanted to test my theory, and so the following Monday, I was heading back to the in the country. And so I had my regular breakfast like I normally do. I had some eggs and bagels and all some orange juice and all that stuff. And I had me some snacks and a salad to get on my way. When I After in my journey, the sleep hit me like a brick, and I just wanted to sleep again. So I had my salad again, the one I brought, and it was like a booster shot. The sleep just went immediately after eating. Not even 2 minutes, everything just went away. And I found it very puzzling. I drove for about 3 hours, and then about half hour before I get to my destination, I had another pack. I had some bagels and stuff. And immediately after I eat it, immediately after, the sleep came back. And then I was just, I said, then that's why I'm always so sluggish. And then I start cutting out all this stuff from my diet.
Mm.
I stopped cooking, but it didn't come, in overnight. It may take about a few months, but in between, I would eat a lot more plants and I have a lot more energy. But in between, I would have some of my regular food. But every time I do that, I also realize that I would have I should say that I suffered with migraine for the greater part of my life. All my life, I have migraine headaches, and every time I would eat something like a regular cooked meal, I would have migraines that would always come back. So I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to cut them all out. So I stopped cooking. It's almost 6 years now, going on to 6 years that I've not cooked a meal. I just start doing raw plant-based food. So I stopped doing the process. I stopped doing dairy, the milk, the cheese, nothing cooked, no sugar, no salt, all that stuff. And I just started taking my cues from nature itself. And I realized that I come up with a lot of different recipes and stuff that I created along the way because it wasn't easy just to find something to eat or eating the same thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started sharing these things with my friends and people start liking it. My friends start liking it. And then um, for my daughter, at the time 8 years old, she she didn't like vegetables and all that stuff. So she was kind of instrumental in me creating stuff that she would eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I made a first like the a plant-based veggie burger, and she tried it for the first time, and I saw that she liked it. And when she had the first one and she was finished, she says, "I need another." And I know I was on something.
Yes.
So with all the knowledge that I've accumulated over a period of time, I decided, you know what? Everybody that who have tried this loved it. So what I'm going to do is share it with everyone. So the birth of Lifestyle Smoothie um, started. I went to Jamaica, and me and my daughter went on vacation last summer, and um, I bought this bottle of water, and the name Lifestyle Water was on it. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're going to call it. And so we came back, and that's the name that we used, and we started putting everything together. So for me and my daughter, 9 years old now, we kind of put the whole concept together, and that's the birth of Lifestyle Smoothie.
And I had a chance to meet your legacy, and I
Yeah,
call legacy your legacy. And she is amazing at 9 years old. And she's right. The veggie burger is simply amazing. And when you have a kid who can enjoy a plant-based burger, veggie burger, and it's not the typical veggie burger. So most people think of a patty, right?
yeah,
And so when I looked at your menu and saw veggie burger was something different,
yeah.
I wasn't sure how that combination was going to work in my mouth, in my taste buds, right?
Mhm.
But it's absolutely amazing. And for my 11-year-old granddaughter to say, when are we going back to get another veggie burger? You definitely have something.
Okay. It's different, and it's flavorful, and it's very tasty. All right.
Yes.
Um, we've opened over a month now. All right, about 1 month and a few days, and we have served over 2,000 customers, and not one customer hasn't liked it. Everybody loved it,
Loves it. Yeah.
and and I just wanted to share it. I mean, the whole concept. So look out, everyone. By next year, we'll be spreading our wings across the country. You know.
I'm excited. Um, I'm excited about that opportunity to franchise, because yes, that is a great way to share
Uh,
your blessing, right? Because this is
Miss Brown is asking, what does it look like? Well, the
yes,
veggie burger looks like a regular a burger, except it's not made from meat. It's made from fresh vegetables, fruits and vegetables. It made with avocados, apples, kale, lettuce, tomatoes, all that stuff, and it's made fresh. So we make it. It's every day, and it's just amazing. You would
yes,
have to come and try it and
yes.
decide it for yourself.
Yeah, she's a vegan, so I'm sure she would like it. And you do it in different forms, like you do it with
spice and
a onion bun, right? A toasted
yes,
onion bun. Then you also do it with a wrap,
yeah, and the bite. Miss Brown, I would say just come
Bowers,
by and
Bowers.
it's about. Oh yes, Bowers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and come by and try one.
Yes, yes. I will make sure that she does. Um, and so let's talk about a little bit more about what you offer in the shop for the
Okay.
people to know.
Okay. Well, we have like seven different seven different kind of smoothies. And all the smoothies are plant based. I mean, there's no milk, there's no dairy, and there's no artificial additive to any of our
Sweeteners,
smoothies.
yeah.
And they are very delicious. They're very flavorful, and they always gives you a burst of energy.
Hmm.
We also have like the plant-based veggie burgers. The content of the burger is also used in like the veggie wraps and the veggie bites. We also have fruit wraps. We have which made from fruits and a delicious fruit dip. And then we have something made from broccoli. It's
Broccoli
called broccoli
twist.
twist, and
Hmm.
this is raw broccoli along with fruits,
And nuts, right?
and nuts, pecans,
Mhm.
and that also is delicious, you
Yes.
know. So we try to keep everything as natural as possible. I'm not saying that it's all 100% natural, because the bread is, I mean, the bread is processed, and I mean, the sauce we use is maybe processed because it has to go through a process to give it that flavor and all that stuff. So, but 90% or 95% of it is better than what we eat on a day to day basis,
Hmm. Absolutely.
and you won't feel sluggish. And for most of us who have the niggeritis symptom, you'll never have it.
And I want to share with them that you can come to a person and provide the service.
Yes,
And if they have a company and they want to have lunch served, people can purchase items on site. You can come to on site and do that as well. You just
yeah,
did that for my my job. Um, they won't be disappointed at all. So,
they should not.
mhm.
You know, I mean, since we're open, I have a 100% satisfactory with, I mean, with all our clients, with all our customers.
All fives on
Oh,
your Google review.
oh yes, yes. And I want to thank all my customers who, take the time out to leave a review. Thank you so much.
Yes. And if you haven't left a review, please take a moment and do so. It matters, right?
Yes, it does. It does. It drives more traffic to the location.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. People, I don't know that people really understand there's strategy, right?
Hmm.
There's strategy to everything that happens, and you could not be successful without the people who come and purchase your burgers and who take the time to
Leave
share
a
a
review.
review so that other people can enjoy this as well, right?
Yes,
Hence
ma'am.
is why I'm doing what I'm doing today, because I truly believe sharing is caring, and if something is good, it's worth sharing with others so they can enjoy it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about briefly, because we have about 15 more minutes. I want you to share um, what has been most rewarding on your journey from Jamaica to the United States. Like, what has been, you would say, at the top of the list that has been most rewarding since 2006?
The top of the list. Well, there is a lot of different.
Share them. Doesn't
Um,
have to be just
the,
one.
I mean, the culture is different. The people are different.
Hmm.
Um, um, there is a lot more opportunity for growth. So for people who are, let's say, live here and not capitalizing on the opportunities that are there, I would say now is a good time to start noticing, because opportunity is around you every single day, everywhere you turn, and you just have to see the opportunity for what they are. So there is no excuse for anyone who says that there's nothing to do. There's always something to do. And so being here, I see a few things. One, we're very wasteful in the stuff that we do. Two, we consume more than what we, we spend more than what we earn, and we always live on credit. We always everything is at our fingertip, and we want to have everything. But you don't need a whole lot to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to. I always say, a friend always tell me that you need three things to be happy. You need love, you need shelter. Four things. You need some good friends, and find a good partner where you have a lot of fun with
Mm-hmm.
and enjoy that. So for most of us, 90% of the stuff that we have, we don't really need. You just want them. So I'm kind of trim your life down a little bit to what's important, and focus on those things.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And so the rewarding part has been the opportunity,
Yeah.
the
Uh,
culture.
this country is full of opportunity. So I would say, and not everyone has to be in college to be successful,
Absolutely.
because college is not for everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
um, for those who think that's the only way out, it is not.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you just need a great concept, and execute that concept and be consistent with it.
Yes.
And the sky's the limit. And most importantly, don't let anybody talk you out of what you're gonna do. And sometimes it's not even good to share your idea or concept with somebody. You just do what is given to you, and just be consistent with it. Don't
Yes.
just start it and stop along the way. Be consistent with it. It's very important. Most
Mm-hmm.
people fail because they're not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then another set fail because they have somebody talk them out of their dreams. You should have done it
Absolutely.
this way. You should have done it that way. And so just remember, not everybody has a right to speak into your dreams.
I love it. They don't have a right to speak into your dreams.
No.
And so being the first person in the plaza, Spivey Commons, to open their business,
Hmm.
and now you await all of your partners, what does that feel like? Like you really have set the tone for customers to come by and not only support you, but the other people.
Well, yes, it does. But one of the things that that I realize is, everything here has to do with um, people don't want to take chances on other people, and people want. Like I went to another complex to get a plaza, and I remember the guy asked me, um, "What do you want to put there?" And I told him a smoothie shop, and he says, "Okay, I see that you have another business." He says, "Why don't you want to do the other business?" I said, "I don't want another business." And he said to me, "Well, I'm not sure you're gonna do well in this area, because you're leaving from one business to another business, and you should stick to the same thing." And I say to him, "That's not. I want to do something else. I don't want to stick to the same thing. I want to do something else." And so for that, he didn't want to rent to me, but that's his loss,
Mm-hmm.
because my dream or my vision by next year is to franchise, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's gonna walk into one of my franchise one of these days.
Yes. And say, I had the chance.
I had the chance.
I had the chance to help him get started and I turned it down.
Yeah.
And so Tanya just said, don't share all of your dreams. Friends or family can either stretch your vision or crush your dreams. And that's true, they can. So sometimes it is best to keep it to yourself
Yeah.
and not share. That's
So
unfortunate, but it's true.
that is true, but I would say that it's um, I've learned to block out negative commentary. So anybody with that negative energy never get an opportunity
To feed into you.
to feed into me. So I've learned to block things out.
That's
Really,
good.
and at one time it was hard, but now it is very easy.
Hmm.
You
That's
know,
good. That's good. Don't even let them get into your spirit.
no.
That's really good. And so, can you share? Because I'm sure there are people out there, you shared a lot of nuggets, who want to become an entrepreneur, on the fence of becoming an entrepreneur. Of course, we're not going to tell them to leave their job and just jump, right?
Mhm.
Um, but have a plan, execute the plan while you are working your job. And when you get to a place where you feel comfortable enough to exit, then you do that. But what else can you share with the audience or someone who desires to jump into this world of entrepreneurship but have been on the fence?
Okay. A lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but um, most of them never really put it into action. Most of them, for most people that I meet, they have some of them have some great ideas, and a lot of great ideas died in the graveyard. That's where it ends. I would say the first thing that they have to do is believing in themselves. Some people believe that they can't do it, or what if I don't make the money or make the rent to pay the bills or the light bill? What happens? You don't know that. I mean, the job that you're in right now, you could lose your job tomorrow. What do you do? You know. So I would say to all those who are there who wants to do something, believe in yourself. You be your biggest cheerleader, and take that leap of faith. In everything that we do, there is failure, but you never know unless you try. So believe in yourself and execute your dreams. And
Yes,
most importantly, don't just start it, and as it gets hard, a month or two you quit. Be consistent with it.
yes.
Because if you believe in it, I mean, anything that you love to do and you do it, you can be successful at it.
And Tanya was just saying how have you have to execute. You have to move forward. You have to do it. You have to jump. And let me tell you something about her.
But
Tanya was um her and her husband was a very successful entrepreneur in Atlanta for decades. In Atlanta, had many clothing stores. She's from New York. I mean, so successful. And I'm gonna share this because I can. I think she'll be okay with it. But she has MS, and it goes back to why I started this show. So I started this show 2 years ago, April 16th. And one of the things that I talk about in my book, and this applies to not only being an entrepreneur, but just in general, Tanya was advised by a mentor to get um, disability insurance before her diagnosis with MS. She was advised by her mentor, and she took the advice literally. So I know you're giving advice tonight about executing. And so I'm saying this to encourage somebody, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an employee, whatever it is, you have to execute. As a result of her executing, when she was diagnosed with MS, she's still able to maintain her current lifestyle, her previous lifestyle, because she was able to get that policy in place before that diagnosis. And that policy pays her as if she was still earning what she earned as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
And so sometimes people don't execute in many areas of their lives, right? That's how Is Your House in Order came about. So I wanted to share that because sometimes we don't think about execution on all levels because
But
we're not able to work, right, as an entrepreneur because something may happen to us physically, mentally, or what have you. So we're not able to move and do and work that business. We may not have anybody in place to work it for us. So there are so many things about life. And for me, I'm going to always put some thoughts out there for people to think about, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are an employee, whatever you may be. Yeah, if you have the money, then you don't need to do all that. But if you don't have the money to replace the income that could be removed, then you need to have a plan,
hmm.
right?
Yep.
And so execution is very key, regardless to whether it's starting a business, maintaining your lifestyle, whatever that is. Nothing beats a failure but a try. So try, 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 whether it's the business, whether it's making sure that you have all your I's dotted and T's crossed as it relates to handling your personal affairs, whatever that is, do it.
And same note, just remember, execution is one thing, but be consistent with it is everything.
Yes, yes, yes. Every time I've come into your shop, your smoothies are consistent, your burgers are consistent.
Thank you.
Yes. So consistency does pay off. And you've just said 6 years now that you have not had any cooked food. So obviously you don't have migraines anymore.
Um, I occasionally, but not. I mean, before I used to have it every day, every single day. I would learn to function with it. I mean, occasionally, maybe once in a while, it might pop up, um, but it's not like what it was, um, you know. So and I want to just put this little nugget out there for most of us. I mean, your health is your greatest wealth, and I would say that take that into your own hands. Be careful of what you eat and how you eat, because if you look around, most of the food that we eat are not even real these days. You know, 90% of the food is either processed or something. And I would say this, that for those who think strongly about their health, try raw, go raw. I think it's better than anything that you will eat. Um, and this is my theory now. Nothing cooked has any nutritional value.
Say that again.
Nothing cooked has any nutritional value. So you cook it, everything is gone. So raw is right, and I would
Seeded and seeded.
yeah.
Let's not forget to mention seeded. Yes.
And I learned that, but I mean, a while recently, but and just looking at what I see from day to day, most of the food is processed. It's something most of us don't even know what it is that we're eating, but we eat it
Mhm,
anyway, and
mhm,
that's why we have so many sick people.
mhm, mhm,
And so put your health in your own hands and take care of yourself.
mhm. Well, I just want to say, Tanya just said all of her Jamaican friends are raw. Um, and of course she's a vegan.
Hmm.
But I want to just say to you, thank you, and I want to give you an opportunity to share like your time, your store hours, your location, um, and whatever you want to share about what you're doing at Lifestyle Smoothie.
Okay, currently right now we open from 10 to 6, Monday through Friday. In the coming months, we'll be opening we'll be changing our hours, um, and we'll be opening on weekends. But currently we are 10 to 6, Monday to Friday, and we are at 1175 Highway 130, 8 East, and just come out and see us and join the family.
Yes, you won't regret it. And you guys know I've been showcasing what he does since I've been there, since July 4th. And so I'm grateful that I went there. And thank you, William, for sharing the post. And thank you, Sterling, for starting the business.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. So to everyone tuning in with us this evening, as always, we appreciate the support. And we believe sharing is definitely caring. And you all have a wonderful evening and tune in next Thursday at 7 p.m. for another wonderful conversation. Thank you again, Tanya. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for engaging in this conversation with us. We appreciate you. And I hope that you will um, give Lifestyle Smoothie a try. Not only you, but everyone that's watching it live and on replay. You guys have an amazing evening. Remember that I love you, but God loves you most. He loves you best. Peace, love, joy today and always. And remember, life with Shenita started with an ultimate. Take care. Stay
Thank you for
blessed.
having me.